Well, hello everybody. This is Dr. Troy Dukowitz of the Commit and Go podcast, where we encourage you to make big commitments, take big action, and create big-ass results in your life and business. Today's topic is this: there are steps on the way to your target. So here's the situation. This is about 24 hours removed from a birthday party. My oldest son, Wyatt, had a birthday party to go to at school, and we packed up the family and went to a place called Sky Zone. Now, if you're not familiar with Sky Zone in your area, Sky Zone is a very cool trampoline place. I mean, they got trampolines for everything. Basketball, they have dodgeball, they have a warrior course, they have jousting. They have just a lot of really cool stuff that families can do together, kids can do, have fun. And so this is where his classmate Ian was having his birthday party. And so when we got there, the party had started, and Wyatt had gone out on some trampolines, and they're basically, I want you to imagine kind of like there's these squares, and they're probably like, I'm going to imagine they're about 8x8 squares all across this big section, this big area. And so Watson, my youngest, well, my middle child, I guess, sorry about that, we have Walker now, who is our youngest. You've got to get used to that. And so Watson and I go looking for Wyatt and Mommy and Walker. And we go up and we find that Wyatt is jumping over in the corner on one of these 8x8 squares. And so Watson immediately takes off and goes out there to jump. Now, the rules here are that it's only one person per square. They don't want people like we do at our house. We have a trampoline and I jump up and down and the kids bounce all over the place and they think it's the greatest thing in the world. They don't want that here. They are practicing safety, so I guess we should probably take a lesson for that at home. And I see them out there, and Watson's over there now, and I look at my wife, Leah, and I say, hey, I'm going to head out there. I'm going to go play. And so I hit the first square. I bounce up, trying to get the boys to watch me. I hit the next square. I bounce up, trying to get the boys to watch me. I now hit, boom. There was no next square, folks. I am watching my target, a.k.a. my kids, and I am trying to get them to watch me. I know where it is that I want to go, and I just have to keep bouncing, and I'm going to get there. What I didn't pay attention to was in between the steps, in between the bounces, if you will, there is a blue platform that was about 8x8, and it was not a trampoline, which means that when I took that second bounce up into the air, I literally landed on this platform. Now, it was a little cushioned. However, when you're expecting to bounce back up, this freaking hurt. This was the shot heard around the world. This was my ankles, my knees, my spine, my head, everything just jolted. And then it's one of those moments where I froze and I'm like, okay, that really hurt. I wonder if anybody saw me. And I turn around to my wife in one of those, oh my gosh, what happened? Laughing her ass off type of poses. And she's laughing, I'm laughing, and then another mom in the class is laughing. And they were kind of acting like they wanted to make sure I was okay, but ultimately they were laughing and I was laughing myself. And I had no freaking idea. Then, of course, I had to reload. My kids did not see this. So I'm like, man, this would have probably been kind of funny to watch. And so I looked down and realized there's a small, probably 3-foot area I need to jump on, then another 8x8, and then boom, I'm there. And so I go ahead and I proceed and I get to my boys where they had no idea what happened, and they are bouncing and playing. This brings up very much the lesson from today. The lesson is very simple. How many times do we look like, here's the target, here's where it is that I want to go, but we don't look at the steps we need to take, right? And it's, look, what are we supposed to do? Everybody tells you, keep your eye on the target, you know your end result, you know where it is that you want to go. However, there are always going to be obstacles in the way. And if we're not aware of those obstacles, they can creep up on you and stop you in your tracks. It's exactly what happened to me in this scenario. I was jumping, I was bouncing, I was jumping, I was bouncing, I was stopped. Instantaneously stopped right in my tracks. Now, had I been paying attention and not just looking at where my children were, but looking at the next step, I would have been able to make the appropriate adjustments on landing to be able to continue and keep going. So let's translate this into your own life. When you look at your life, where is it right now that you're focused on that end target, which is great, but you're not looking at the steps that you need to take? Folks, this is something that paralyzes people. They get so excited. This is why goal setting, often people get frustrated with it because they set goals, but they don't set the mini goals. They don't set the mini targets. They don't set the steps that are necessary to get to that point in their life. What do? They say, this is where I want to go by the end of next year. Let's go make some shit happen. And maybe January is great, but then all of a sudden by February, March, they're burned out because they had no actual steps in the way. They kept looking at the end of the year. That's where I want to go, but they weren't looking that they had to bounce, step. Instead, they bounce, thud. They get stopped. They feel a shock throughout their entire body. They realize maybe they're off track. They realize they didn't have the steps mapped out, and most people get frustrated and they don't even course correct and continue to get back on path. They just stop. Now, I'm not saying this is you. But what I do know is that right now in your life, you can look across body, being, balance, business, body being your health, your fitness, your nutrition, being your spirituality, relationship with God, balance being your relationships with your spouse, significant other, or even children if you have them, or business and business and your bank accounts. You look across those 4 areas, and where is it that you have just stopped? You were so fixated on the target, the end result, that you stopped looking at the steps that you needed to take to get there. And it's very simple. To get to my boys, I had to go bounce, step, bounce. And I was there. And I just had to focus on the next bounce. And if I focus on the next bounce, it's going to take me to, as I'm in the air, I can calculate what's next. The next one's going to be a step. And then I'm going to jump, and the next one's going to be a bounce. I can see that. And every time I take a step, I can take the next step. But if you're looking at just the target and you're not looking at the steps that need to be made, then you'll stop dead in your tracks. So take a look at that right now. Take a look across body, being, balance, business. Where is the area in my life that I am so fixated on the target, the end result, that I'm not taking time to look at the steps that are necessary to get there, then find out what is one step you can take today to start that process and moving you towards what it is that you want in your life. That's all I've got for you here today, folks. Hey, if you haven't already, go check out commitandgo.com. I've got something there for you that really is going to fit beautifully with today's discussion. It is called the Gap Map Protocols. What the hell does that mean, Troy? Hey, great question, you back in the corner. Gap Map Protocols is literally a document that has been put together to take you from where you are to where it is that you want to go. You're going to map out your reality and where you are, and then where it is that you want to go across body, being, balance, business. In the middle, you will then take a look at the gap. The gap has your known obstacles, the things that you know could possibly hold you back from getting to where you want to go. Then you strategize the steps that you can take to move past and through that. Hop on over there right now. Go ahead and put in your email address, and you are going to get this download to immediately get to work on, along with a video explaining the entire process. Of course, if you need help, I am always here for you. All you have to do is reach out, Dr. Troy. That is DRTROY at commitandgo.com. And as always, I would ask, if you have enjoyed this podcast, that you make sure that you rate, review, and even subscribe, and even be so kind as to forward it to your friends. Remember, I'm on iTunes, Google Play, and Stitcher. That's all I've got for you here today. I am Dr. Troy Dukowitz. This has been the Commit and Go podcast, where we encourage you to make big commitments, take big action, and create big-ass results in your life and business. We'll hear you next time.